If you think your PSVR2 experience isn't quite as it should be, there are a lot of things you can do in the settings. You might have some stuff calibrated the wrong way, and that might be impacting negatively your PSVR2 experience. So what I'm going to do in this video, I'm going to show you the best settings you need to do to improve your PSVR2 sort of immersion, the clarity, getting rid of what blurriness you can. The first thing we'll do is I'm going to press the PlayStation button once, and I'm going to go to quick settings. Now, not all of the settings you need are here actually. So I'm going to go to other settings, and now we're going to be in the prop one. The first thing I want to show you is set floor height. Now this is really important. I'm going to crouch down here, and you can see that these squares are, sorry if I'm cutting out, are like right on the floor. So my floor setting is absolutely fine. Now if your floor setting is hovering, then you want to go in there and press it to the floor, and that's going to mean you're the right height. I see a lot of people saying like, oh, I'm sitting so weirdly in the car and whatnot. Definitely try that out, because that is really going to help you. Now, we're going to come on to some really important ones here. The first thing is eye tracking. Now, definitely test this. Just going to reset this in front of me here by holding the options button. Now, test the eye tracking. This should really be second nature. Now, it's pretty good for me. That one in the bottom right isn't great, so I'm going to click adjust eye tracking and show you what this is. So we're going to start with the dots in the dark, and then we're going to go into the light. These aren't seconds, by the way, these countdowns. This is quite similar to what you have in the opticians. Let's keep our head straight. Don't move your head here, just move your eyes. Do we have any opticians watching this, by the way? If you're an optician, let us know in the comments. This is very much like the... Can you look left, please? Can you look right? Look up, look down. Okay, you need glasses. Tracking it. Tracking it. Now, once you do this, it really should feel very fluid when you do this exercise here. So here we go. It's a very fluid experience once you do it. Quite strenuous on the eyes. But this, I think, next is the biggest setting. And by the way, if you're enjoying these PSVR2 videos, please make sure you're subscribed. I'm just doing this in my part-time. I want to make sure we all have the best experience when it comes to PSVR2. It is quite expensive. Now this is the big one. Let me find it. Lens distance. Right. You can see here, it's in the blue, just about. This marker here underneath, that thing moves so easily. It's controlled by this dial here. It is so easy to hit this dial when you're taking your headset on and off, when you're putting it down. And I don't understand why this isn't lockable, because if you've bought this PSVR2 headset, it would be great to lock it to your settings. But this will change all the time. Sometimes I'd be thinking, hang on, things are a little bit blurry. And I come into here and I see it's all the way to the left. I can feel it pinching my nose now. So I sort of know my lens distance is kind of around here. And so I immediately know. This should be a quick setting. It should be a button where you can press it and you can see where that line is. So please make sure you check that. That is a really important setting when it comes to clarity. Now the next thing I want to show you is for tracking. This is going to put a bar around the outside of the TV. Now I'm sitting, again, let me show you here. I'm sitting in front of a sim rig. I'm sitting in a sim rig in front of a screen. So this is absolutely fine for me to have the board around the outside. Now unfortunately I am streaming and making videos a lot, which means that wouldn't be a great viewing experience. So I could crop it in, I guess. But I haven't really suffered that much for the tracking, but make sure you know the options there if you want to do it. Now this is something that I've done that has improved things. See, my brightness isn't all the way up. I found when I went all the way up, I think the HDR in the headset will sometimes just get a little bit overpowered and blur things. So I found my sweet spot is around here. Just taking it down a notch or two, it's still perfectly bright. I still get that HDR effect, but I've just toned it down just so you know. Now the other thing I want to mention is screen size. This is for cinema mode only, doesn't affect VR. This is, I don't know how to say this, but the viewing experience is not as wide as PSVR 1. I used to have this on the widest setting in PSVR 1, and I used to play stuff like FIFA. I used to play all sorts of games in it, and I remember in FIFA I had to actually move my head to see like across the pitch and the wider camera settings. In PSVR2, I can see the black edges of the screen on either side. So the wider setting is not as wide. I suspect this is because PSVR2 has a better field of view. So actually my field of view is wider, but just so you know, very, very, very important. Now video output, I did this earlier and it crashed my recording, but I didn't really notice too much of a distance with 120 Hz in the cinema settings. And it doesn't affect the game anyway. It doesn't affect Gran Turismo 7 for me, for example. But make sure you have that clicked if you're not streaming or recording. I don't see any downside to having it clicked there if you're not streaming and recording. So the last thing I want to say, this is a very sneaky setting here in function button assignment. I personally, it depends what you want. On PSVR 1, obviously there was a mute microphone button on the little audio box. Here you can choose between view surround and a mute microphone. For me, I don't see any way I would change this off view surroundings. It's just so useful. So I would say just make sure you get a headset where you can mute your mic and you don't have to use this button. But I hope you've really found this video helpful. Let me know in the comments if you have any other tips. If you go through and do everything I've just gone through here, you should improve your viewing experience on PSVR 2. Let me know how you're finding it. I can't wait to hear from you, and I'll see you in the next video.